What's up, guys? This is Kephas. We are back in the Legion Beta / PTR checking out the Feral Druid by popular demand. I've had so many requests to do this class, and I'm going to show you guys what the Feral Druid's all about and give you guys my impressions, my thoughts, show you how I think it's supposed to be played. You know, I'm no elitist jerk, and I'm no pro at this, but I'm going to give you guys what I think is what's going on, and also explain to you up front why it is impossible to create a gnome sequencer macro for this class. So if you're new to this channel, if you're seeing this video, this is one of the first videos for me that you're seeing. Hi, my name is Kephas. I am legally blind and I play video games, specifically World of Warcraft. So I can't see very well. I can't see hardly at all. I'm blind in my left eye, have no peripheral vision, 20 over like 200 to 400 in my right eye. I have usually a lot of mods going on, which I don't have on the PTR because I'm lazy. So it makes it hard when I'm paying attention to battles like target dummies, my character, and actually what's going on in my placement. It's hard to look at action bars and also look at buffs and debuffs and all that stuff at the same time. So it makes it very challenging. And so what I do is I find ways to make the game more accessible for myself, and I'm applying those things that I'm learning and sharing those with other people who also may have a disability or some type of challenge or just want an easier gameplay experience. So what I tend to do is I make macros, or using a mod called Gnome Sequencer, which will cycle through abilities that you put in the macro, and it's more of like an advanced macro system. But anyways, with the way the Druid plays, you're going to understand why that is impossible to do. I've seen some attempts. I've made some attempts. I've seen some things on like lazymacros.com, some things that I've tried. I've tried things in the past, and Druid just happens to be one of those classes that is impossible to really reliably macro. It's the same for rogues. It's the same for balanced druids. It's the same for even warlocks and to some degree priests as well, just depending on what you're doing. I'm going to continue to try, but when I'm done, you'll understand why I'm having such trouble with this. And this is also why it's been a while since I've made a video, because I've been trying really hard to get something going here for you guys, because you guys have requested it so much, and because I think the Druid is an awesome class. I mean, look at this new kitty form. It looks great, doesn't it? I mean, they did a good job with it. And the new bear form looks awesome, too. Check it out. Check out the new bear form. Freaking snazzy, man. I love the new forms. And what you can do with, like, the artifact weapon to make them look even better is wonderful. So, anyways, here's the kitty form. Rotation, it's... How should I say this? If I say it's hard, it's going to make some people who are really good upset, because I'm sure there are a lot of people that think this is really easy. Compared to a lot of other classes, this isn't super easy in the sense that there are things that you have to pay attention to. There are debuffs, there are bleed effects, and there are combo points, and so you have to play in a certain way. You cannot just spam away buttons, which is why a Gnome Sequencer macro is impossible. So here's what you have to do. Basically, you see these little circles up here? These are combo points. You build up combo points, and then you spend those on more powerful attacks. So you have two combo point builders for single target. You've got Rake, which will put a bleed effect on the target. That's the main thing it does. It does a little bit of damage and then a 15-second bleed effect. So the major portion of the damage comes from the bleed effect. What you're going to want to do is when you hit the target with Rake, you don't want to hit the target with Rake again until that bleed effect is almost gone. So look, we'll hit the target, and you'll see right here, this is Rake. Now it's got 12 seconds, 11 seconds, 10 seconds left. Now if I hit it now, I'm wasting a lot of time on that Rake bleed effect. I want to wait till it's almost gone, almost like right now, basically. I can hit it again, refresh that, and now it's going down the cycle again. And you can see I'm also building combo points. So every 15 seconds is when you're going to want to hit Rake. Your other combo point builder is an ability called Shred, which basically just is like a raw damage ability. So when you use Shred, you'll gain combo points, but it does just raw damage. There's no bleed effects, there's nothing like that. It's just pure. So when you have your bleed effect up, then you would just use Shred to build combo points while this bleed effect is going, and then you'll use Rake again when it's almost gone. That's how you do the combo point building. That's kind of the dance. Now the key though is that Shred gets a 20% damage increase when there's a bleed effect on the target. So you want to make sure that you have Rake on the target before you use Shred. And you want to make sure that you're keeping Rake up on the target at all times. Now, that's how you build combo points. When you do AoE for building, it's the same thing. I might as well go over this now. It's basically the same thing. You're going to use Thrash, which is basically an AoE bleed effect. And then you're going to use Swipe, which is just an AoE raw damage attack. Now, for whatever reason, Thrash doesn't generate a combo point like Rake does, but Swipe does. generate combo points. So when you're in AoE, rather than using these two, you're going to use these two, right? And then when you've got combo points, you can spend them on more powerful attacks. The first one is Rip. Now, you can spend 1 to 5 combo points on Rip. And the more combo points you spend, the more damage it's going to do. Now, Rip is another bleed effect. It's a 24-second bleed effect. So a 24-second debuff. If you only spend 1 combo point on Rip, then over 24 seconds, it's only going to deal, well, right now, 7,200 damage. If I spend all 5 combo points, it's going to deal 36,000 damage. So as you can see, you generally want to spend 5 combo points. Once again, if I just try to throw these in a macro, then the macro is not going to know whether you have 1 combo point or 5 combo points, and you're just going to blow it on whatever, and your DPS, quite frankly, is going to suck. So again, that's why you can't really reliably macro this class. So what you're going to do is you're going to spend your first 5 combo points on Rip, and as you can see, you now have a debuff going. So now you're going to want to build combo points again. So first, you're going to use Rake to get that debuff up, and then you're just going to spam Shred to get 5 up again. And now, since we have these bleed effects up, we have Rip up, we want to spend it on Ferocious Bite, which is just a raw damage attack. The more combo points you spend, the more damage you do. So there you go. We've spent our combo points, and actually I have a talent that is making it refresh Rip. So as you can see, we're going to want to bring up Rake again. Boom, boom, boom. Get our 5th one in. And then let some energy build back up so we can actually spin the ability. And bam, Ferocious Bite does a lot of damage, consumes our combo points, and refreshes the Rip ability. So that's basically how you're going to play the class. Obviously, I'm doing it very slowly right now so that you can understand it, but that is how it's done. And as you can see, because of the way this class plays, it is pretty much impossible to macro that. None of these abilities have cooldowns. And like I said, if you just spam away and I try to put all these in a macro, you're just going to spam away and hit random buttons, random abilities, and it's not going to know whether you have the debuff up or you don't, or whether you have 1 combo point or 5 combo points. You're just going to spam whatever, and that damage is going to suffer. And yes, I could do that, but I'm not going to because, like I said, it will not perform well. When I say it will not perform well, while other druids are doing like 50k DPS, you're not even going to be doing 20k DPS at the same item level. And I refuse to make macros that are not performing somewhat adequately. I never try to min-max, obviously. It's almost impossible to make a macro and then expect you to min-max. But I'm certainly not going to make a macro that is completely playing the class incorrectly and not performing at all. I want to make sure that the damage is competent, and there is simply no way to make a competent druid macro so that you're putting out adequate DPS in any situation whatsoever. The ways that I've seen it almost work is using cast sequence macros. That's where you're going to do like 1 Rip and then a few Ferocious Bites, right? Or 1 Rake and then a few Shreds. But the problem with doing it that way is you're always going to run into a problem where you're still not getting enough combo points, you're using too many Rips, you're using too many Rakes, and it just isn't working very well. So unfortunately, guys, please forgive me for not delivering. Please don't blame me because it's not my fault. I didn't design the class. It's just the way the class is designed, and unfortunately, that's just how you have to play it. I guess Druids, you could, I suppose, consider them a more advanced class. Not that the rotation is particularly difficult, but that it does require a little bit more paying attention to debuffs and to some mechanics than other classes do, for better or for worse. So it's going to reward you for playing and paying attention. Like, there are other classes that there isn't much to it. You just blow cooldowns, hit abilities when they're off cooldown, try to follow a priority system. But with Druids, it's a lot more than that. It's almost like playing the drums. That's what playing a Druid feels like. There's a rhythm to it. Hitting one button to refresh a debuff, and then hitting other buttons to build I keep wanting to call it holy power, to build combo points, then spinning those combo points on other abilities. And you just simply cannot macro that kind of gameplay. Unfortunately, there just isn't a reliable way to do it. And that's why there has never been a gnome sequencer macro for Druids. And that's probably why there's never going to be one. At least for now, because I haven't found a way to make it work yet. So let's go over the talents now, and I'll show you what you can do to maybe make it a little bit easier. Okay, so the first one is Predator. It's a passive. The cooldown on Tiger's Fury resets when a target dies with one of your bleed effects active. So if you're playing the class correctly, and you've got a bleed effect up, Tiger's Fury will reset when you kill that target. Tiger's Fury is your kind of like your main cooldown. You kind of want to use it all the time. Basically, I mean, there's some intuition that's involved. Tiger's Fury will instantly restore 60 energy. So right there, you don't want to use it unless you need 60 energy, right? I mean, well, sort of. Like, you want to make sure that you're not, like, energy capped before you use it, or you're going to waste that, like, energy gain that you get. But it also increases the damage of all your attacks by 15% for their full duration, lasts 8 seconds. So, in other words, the way you're going to want to use this is you're going to want to use it to, like, you'll do a couple attacks, get your energy pool down, then use it, get that energy back, and then give yourself a damage increase, and then use it again in 30 seconds to keep that damage increase up. That's kind of how you want to use it. So this will allow you to use it more often every time you kill something. So this is probably really good for when you're out doing solo content, world content, killing trash, stuff like that. Because you have to get, does it say you have to get the killing blow? Oh, you said when target dies. Oh no, it just means the target has to die. So when you're out, you know, doing stuff like that, maybe PvP, just things like that. Probably raid boss fights, I don't see it being as useful, but it's a really cool talent that you can take to reset that. You could macro Tiger's Fury, but again, if you just spam away at it and you don't use it like the way it's supposed to be used, you're going to lose that 60 energy that you gain back if you're not using it correctly. So that's something to think about. Again, that's just the way the Druid is. Blood Scent, your melee abilities in cat form have a 10% increased critical chance when you hit targets with a bleed effect. So I like this one a lot. I think this is good in all situations. It'll give you some more crit. If you're playing the class correctly, you've always got a bleed effect on the target. You're going to gain 10% crit at all times when you have that bleed effect up. So the moment you hit Rake and you keep that active, you're gaining 10% crit. I think that is a good, well-rounded ability, no matter what situation you're in, especially like longer fights, any fight, it doesn't matter. So I like that one a lot. Lunar Inspiration basically lets you hit Moonfire, which is like a ranged, like that cool, like that thing that Boomkins always hit you with and kill you in PvP. Yeah, it lets you use that in cat form. So it basically lets you have a ranged attack in cat form. You'll generate combo points with it. So you can go with that if you want to have Moonfire so that you can have a ranged attack. It's a cool option. It's something to think about. Maybe certain situations would require that. But obviously it's going to add another button to the rotation, so it's not going to make things easier. It's just going to give you another ability to worry about. But situationally, it might be useful. Next up, we've got Renewal. It's an instantly heals you for 30% of maximum health. This is great survivability. If you're in situations where you need more survivability, maybe you need to heal, maybe you're in a raid fight where you're going to take a bunch of damage, you want to have that kind of heal, it's a good option to take. Displace your beast. It's basically like a cat form blink. You'll blink 20 yards forward, shift into cat form, and gain a 50% increased speed. So it's a mobility thing, 30-second cooldown. And then there's the one I like, which is Wild Charge. Each Druid form, you gain a benefit. So non-form, you're flying to an ally. Bear form, you charge at an enemy like a warrior does. Cat form, you leap behind an enemy, like how it's always been. I think, wasn't it called Pounce? I think, or something like that. Anyways, it's called Wild Charge. Travel form, you leap forward 20 yards, and aquatic form increases swim speed by an additional 150 for 5 seconds. So, look, I'll show you how it looks in cat form. So if you have Wild Charge, you go zoom, like that. So you can just jump to the target. So it's kind of like Charge, but it's just really cool. And it's only like a 15-second cooldown, so it means you're going to get to use it pretty often. I think that's great for a lot of situations, and in fights to get you right into the action. When you're doing solo stuff, when you're in raids, when you're fighting trash, when you're in PvP, it's just going to get you right to the enemy as quickly as possible. And I find this to be very useful, in any situation. So I thought that would be a good option. Next up, this one's cool. This is a cool tier. It basically lets you have a second off spec. I don't know if it's as potent as the actual switching to the spec, but you could have Boomkin if you pick this one, Bear if you pick this one, and Restoration if you pick this one. So if you want to have a second spec, maybe you want to do an off roll. Like, for example, I've taken the Bear one. This way, like, let's say I'm playing a Druid, I'm in a raid, and I need to switch over to tank for whatever reason. Maybe one of the tanks died. They need me to temp for a second so they get the tank back up. I can do this, and I've got the thick hide when I'm in bear form, and I've also got some of the bear abilities. That way I can somewhat reliably tank. I don't know if it's full-fledged. Maybe it is. I don't know, actually, because I don't know enough about the Druid, but it's a cool idea, and I think all Druid specs have this tier so that they can basically have a second spec. It's pretty awesome, actually. Next, so basically you just pick whichever secondary role you want. It's up to you. Next up, now this is all CC. Mighty Bash is a stun. Mass Entanglement is Mass Entanglement, so you do Entangling Roots to a bunch of enemies. And then Typhoon is the one I like. It's basically like where you're basically like Lucio, where you just knock enemies back. It's really cool. It's what happens to you in Eye of the Storm when you're going after the flag and that boomkin. Again, the daggone boomkin sends you flying away. You can use it while you're in cat form or any form. So I like that one. I went with that one just because it's fun. Next up, Soul of the Forest. Your finishing moves grant 6 energy per combo point spent. So basically, if you spend all 5 combo points, you're going to gain 30 energy back. I think that's awesome because energy is important, and having plenty of it is a good option. So this is going to make sure that you're going to get some of that energy back whenever you're spending your combo points. I thought that would be a good passive. Of course, you could always take the King of the Jungle, which replaces Berserk. Berserk is another cooldown that you have that you can use like every 3 minutes. This improves your cat form, that you basically shift in and out of a prowl while you're in combat. You do have a stealth form when you're a cat. You can also do more damage because Prowl basically gives you buffs to your abilities. So when you deal damage, you're going to gain some of those buffs, and you're going to get more energy. Bunch of really cool stuff. Last 3 seconds, basically going to give you more burst, make your abilities kind of move a little bit faster. You know, all that kind of stuff. Do hit harder, do a few more tricks. Great burst damage. It's up to you. And then of course there's Savage Roar, which this is kind of interesting. So this is an ability that's currently pertinent to the Druid rotation. They've taken it out in Legion, but they put it back through talents. So for people that like this mechanic, it's a good option. Basically, it buffs you for, it buffs you by 25%. So you do 25% increased damage for so many seconds depending on how many combo points you spend. So if you only spend 1 combo point, you get it for 8 seconds. If you spend 5, you get it for 24 seconds. So generally, you're probably going to want to spend it for 5. That way you get a 25% boost to your damage. So it's kind of like Inquisition for Paladins. I don't like these abilities. I don't like abilities where I buff myself during the rotation. Like Tiger's Eye Brew, I hated that. Absolutely hated it. I've never been a fan of that. But there are a lot of people out there that love this kind of mechanic. So here you go. It's back for you. If you want to manage another ability with combo points, then here you go. You can take this if you want. For simplicity, I don't recommend it. I recommend this one for simplicity. The one that gives you raw energy regain when you spend your combo points. But this may end up being like the one that the min-maxers say you should go with. I don't know. But it's definitely there if you like that mechanic and you want to go with that. Next here, we've got Sabretooth, which Furious Bite always refreshes the duration of Rip. So this one is really cool because it's going to make your rotation a little bit easier. Basically, if you use this and you're playing correctly, then you should only have to use Rip once per encounter. Because then, every time you spend combo points on Ferocious Bite, the duration of Rip will reset. I thought that would make things a little bit easier for you. So if you want to not have to worry about so many abilities on your rotation, this is the way to go. Get 5 combo points up, hit Rip, get 5 combo points up again, and then all you have to do is hit Ferocious Bite when you have 5. You won't have to worry about that debuff, and then the only debuff you're really going to have to manage is Rake. Generally speaking. That's the only one you're going to have to worry about refreshing. So that might make things a little bit easier for you. Of course, you could always go this way too. Let's say you don't have trouble managing debuffs. You like that mechanic. Well, this will make it so that the duration of those bleed effects is 33% shorter, so it basically cuts the time by 1/3, but it does the same damage. So in other words, rather than having a 15-second bleed effect on the target, it'll be a 10-second debuff on the target, but it will basically last, it'll still do the same amount of damage. Same with Rip. Rather than having a 24-second, it will then have a 16-second debuff bleed effect. But of course, you're not going to refresh it with Ferocious Bite then, so you're going to have to keep using it. So if you like that, it might be more powerful that way because, I don't know, maybe you're getting those bleed effects on more often, you're going through that cycle, you're dealing more damage faster, I don't know. But it's certainly an option that you could go with. And then, of course, if you don't like either one of those, you can get another ability, which is a 45-second cooldown called Elune's Guidance. You gain instantly 5 combo points, so obviously you want to use this when you have no combo points or you'd be wasting it. And then you'll gain 1 combo point every second for 5 seconds. So basically you'll gain 5 more combo points over the course of 5 seconds. So this gives you 10 combo points every 45 seconds, and that's pretty cool. So that's an option too. It's a little bit more bursty. It's going to help you out if you just want to do some quick damage. But you know me, I'm not a big fan of burst. I'm not a big fan of switching things up too much. So I don't like these kind of abilities. But it might be good for you if you want to go for something like that. It's an option. I like this one because, like I said, it just seems like it makes things a little bit easier. Last here is Brutal Slash. This replaces Swipe. Basically a massive AoE. Turns Swipe into a massive damage AoE, but it gives it a 17.1 second cooldown, which is a lot actually. But you have 3 charges, so you can go with that if you want to. Then there's Blood Talons. This one's kind of cool And these last two are kind of based around two of your passives, which we'll go over here in a second. So this one is called Blood Talons. Casting Healing Touch causes your next two melee abilities to deal 30% increased damage for the full duration. Now that might sound weird to you when you look at that. Like, why would I cast Healing Touch? Why would I want to make that part of the rotation? Because look, if you cast Healing Touch, it takes you out of shape-shifting form, and it's got this long cast to it. Well, here's the thing. You have a passive right here. It's called Predatory Swiftness. Your finishing moves have a 20% chance per combo point to make your next Healing Touch, Entangling Roots, or Rebirth instant, free, and castable in all forms. So, you'll have this like proc. You've probably seen it during the fight. It's this little like weak auras looking thing, whatever Blizzard calls theirs, that indicator that pops up above your head. And whenever that pops up, you'll probably see it when I do more of the rotation. You can use a free Healing Touch. When you do that, you will gain a bunch more damage with your next two melee attacks. So that's kind of cool. And that way, I mean, I like to use that like whenever it's available because it gives me healing back, especially when I'm out doing solo stuff. But it's also good in raid fights just to give yourself some passive healing. Kind of nice. So it's going to give you kind of a, for using that passive or that proc whenever it happens, you'll gain damage. Kind of nice. But then you can always go with this one, which is Moment of Clarity. Omen of Clarity now affects the next three cat form abilities, and your maximum energy is increased by 30. So this gives you more energy automatically, and it allows Omen of Clarity to now affect the next three cat form abilities. So what's Omen of Clarity? That's another passive. Normally it affects one ability. Your auto attacks have a chance to cause a clear casting state, making your next cat form ability cost no energy. So if you take Moment of Clarity, this will make it so that your next three abilities cost no energy. I think that's awesome. Again, you take this one, and then you take this one here, and you're getting tons of energy. I mean, and you want to make it even more crazy, you could take this one, and that way you're basically always having energy as much as possible. The more energy you have, the more abilities that you can hit, the more damage that you can do. That's my philosophy, and that's my philosophy behind this setup right here. Again, I'm sure maybe it's not the best. Maybe the min-maxers will have something else to say, but for simplicity's sake, I think this is the way to go. If you do this, all you're going to do, I mean, you can go to the Prowl. Always usually want to start out a fight in Prowl. That way your attacks are going to deal a little bit more damage, like it says. Let me see. It says bleed damage while stealth. Rake will also stun the target for 4 seconds and deal 100% increased damage. So as you see, if you start a fight in stealth mode and you hit Rake, you're going to do more damage. And while stealth, Shred deals 20% increased damage and has double the chance to critically strike. So there you go as well. So that's something else, and that will play into how this King of the Jungle ability works. So you'll start out in Prowl, you'll walk up, you want to get that Rake on as soon as possible. Bam, we've got Rake up, and then we're going to build our combo points with Shred, get to 5. Now we want to use Rip on our first 5 combo points. Now we're using Shred because Rake is still on the target. When Rake is almost gone, there it is, we can use Rake again, and then we go back to using Shred. Now we already have Rip up, so we're going to hit Ferocious Bite. Bam. Now you see this little thing up here? This is what I'm talking about. This gives you a free Healing Touch. There you see, I just used Healing Touch. If I had that one talent, I would gain much more damage now. I don't actually know what this one is. To be completely honest with you, I have no idea what that one is. But anyways, there you go. I'm still trying to figure all this out. So, anyways, guys, that is how you play the Cat Druid. And it's not too hard, to be honest with you, but as you can see, if you hopefully you understand where I'm coming from and why this class is pretty much impossible to macro. Here we use Tiger's Fury, and as you can see, we just got a bunch of that energy back. And when I just spent those combo points, watch, when I spend these combo points on Ferocious Bite, boom, I got some of that energy back. That would have just consumed all that, but I got some of it back. That way I'm getting more energy back. I think that's really cool, actually. So, I mean, you could do a couple things to make this a little bit easier. Obviously, I keep out of practice hitting Rip on the first combo point. I really shouldn't be doing that. I should be waiting until that Rip is almost completely gone, or that Rake. I get them too confused. But anyways, you guys, that's how you play it. Keep your debuffs up. Use your combo points properly. Make sure you have, in general, you want to try to have 5. That way you're getting the most out of the effects. It's kind of weird. I don't know if there may be a situation where you want to use less. I don't honestly know where. But you never know. So there could be something to that, or it could just be Blizzard's way to prevent things like mindless spamming away, and that way it requires a little bit of skill and paying attention to properly play the class. But there you have it, guys. I hope this made sense. I hope that you fully understand why there can't really be a reliable macro for a class like this. I hope that doesn't upset you. I'm sure there are going to be some people that just will refuse to understand and probably blame me. I didn't make the class. It's not my fault. There just isn't a way to reliably macro this class. It's the same for rogues. I'm sure I'll have to make a video explaining that with them too. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep trying. If I do come up with something, then I will give you guys an update, but I would not hold my breath because it's just simply the way the druid plays. So if you want to play a druid, you're going to have to try to figure it out, man. I mean, that's all I can say. You know what I'm saying? It's not one of my main classes. It is fun to play, though, but that's why I don't raid a druid. To be completely honest with you, as a visually impaired person, that's why, because I do find it a little bit more challenging than other classes. Even though I think it's awesome, I'm glad it's designed the way it is. I don't think there's anything wrong with the design. There needs to be classes like this in the game. I think it's cool. I'm not complaining at all. I'm just letting you know how I think the druid is played and how that affects me and potentially you as a visually impaired gamer, and why there is not a gnome sequence for macros. So I hope you guys appreciate what I've done here for you. I mean, I'm trying and all that. So I know I'm rambling now. I'm just trying to explain it the best I can. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your time. I hope this helped you out a little bit. I hope you have a wonderful day. Let me know what classes you'd like to see next. I will do my best to get those to you as soon as possible. So thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful day. This is Kephas. Until next time.